Good morning again. This is Nick Petro with the National Weather Service in Raleigh with your weekly impact weather briefing for Central North Carolina that covers the period today through Sunday through the 7th of May. So just want to jump right into this briefing. And you can see this is a quick kind of overview of the pattern. And there is a risk for severe weather today, all thanks to a pretty potent low-pressure system moving across the Great Lakes and an attendant cold front that will be moving through our area tonight. And so look for showers and thunderstorms ahead of that front, some of which could become severe later today. Once we get that out of here, we'll have basically fair weather. A backdoor front comes through during the midweek Wednesday, but not expected to produce any precipitation for the Wednesday time period. So dry and fair, a little bit cooler than what we've seen Tuesday and Wednesday. By Thursday, the next cold front will be moving, or will be approaching. That cold front's supposed to move through early Friday morning. That system may also bring a chance for strong thunderstorms. And so we'll have to watch out for perhaps a few, again, that potential, I should say, for strong, maybe a few severe storms with that system late Thursday night, early Friday. The weekend right now is looking pretty decent. It should be dry on Saturday, and then there's another sort of backdoor front set to move across on Sunday, and that might bring a few showers, but nothing widespread, at least at this point. So that's the way it's shaping up for the overall pattern. Now, focusing a little more on the severe thunderstorm potential, on this slide you can see in the upper left, that is for today, the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And you can see they've got all of North Carolina for that matter, in a slight risk. Now you see down in the lower right, the color coding, slight means scattered severe storms possible, but there is an enhanced risk basically along and north of the I-85 corridor from, Henderson down to Durham, over to Greensboro, over to Winston-Salem, Statesville, and then points west of that have the enhanced risk. And that means more numerous severe storms are possible, a little bit more better coverage or maybe a little bit better strength in terms of the enhanced risk area. You'll see there that once we get rid of today's weather event, Tuesday and Wednesday, we're not seeing any risk for any storms. Or severe storms for that matter. So anyway, again, staying on today's weather event, today's risk for severe storms, these simulated radar images are provided to give a sense of timing, not necessarily intensity. But first, before we do that, I've got the latest live radar and visible satellite as of 11:15 in the upper left, and you can see there's a few scattered, very spotty showers that are moving across the I-95 and Triangle regions. Right now. Those are just passing, not a big deal. You'll see the more numerous coverage of storms are back west over the mountains, the foothills, crossing central Georgia, upstate South Carolina, over in eastern Tennessee, crossing the mountains. That's the area of showers and storms we're going to be watching. I will point out, though, I included visible satellite imagery because you'll notice there west of Raleigh, west of Fayetteville, there's a pretty thick cloud shield, and that could have impacts on heating, which heating, of course, helps fuel thunderstorms, particularly strong thunderstorms. So we'll have to watch and see if any breaks develop in that cloud shield and how that ultimately will impact the risk for severe weather. So keep that in mind. That might be a player in how this all evolves. Anyway, moving into the future for today, 3 p.m. in the upper middle portion, you'll see we will probably see a few scattered passing thunderstorms moving across the Charlotte area up towards the Triad area, the western portions of the I-85 corridor, and that's sort of an early kind of pre-main event storms. Really, there could be a few storms anywhere, really, for that matter, across central North Carolina during the middle afternoon. But the main severe weather risk we're focusing on will be this evening. So in the upper right, you can see a more consolidated line of showers and thunderstorms, and some of those thunderstorms could be severe, with damaging wind the main threat. Looks like it'll probably move across the 77 corridor, Statesville, approaching the Triad region around 6 p.m. And then by 8 p.m. it should be moving across the Albemarle up toward Greensboro and basically the Triad region around 8 p.m. or so, give or take an hour on either side of these times. And then finally moving over to the Sandhills region and Triangle region by late in the evening, 11 p.m. And then finally pushing east along and east of the I-95 corridor during the overnight hours. And you'll see it looks like things slow down, at least in terms of progression, once they get east of the Triangle. So, there might be a little bit of off and on rain, maybe a thunderstorm across the I-95 and coastal plain region, those corridors during the overnight hours. So it's the evening activity is what we're most concerned with. But I will point out that one of those stray thunderstorms during the mid-afternoon, as shown in the upper portion, can't rule out that one of those could be strong to severe. So again, but the main band of storms that we're focusing on will be this evening. All right, in terms of what will these storms bring? Well, the greatest risk with these storms will be damaging straight-line winds. We can never rule out a tornado, so we have that as limited. It doesn't appear to be a big hail maker, but we can't rule that out. And because they are moving fairly quickly, we're not expecting any flash flooding. Any type of strong storm is going to have a lot of lightning with it, so that's why that's elevated. That's pretty, pretty obvious. But again, the main risk will be damaging straight-line winds with any of the severe storms later today. All right, so what about rain? We've had a lot of rain, obviously, last week, river flooding, all that. So, in general, we could see some spots could see maybe upwards of an inch of rain, but again, because the things are going to be moving fairly progressively, we're not expecting any one spot to really get dumped on. Tuesday and Wednesday should be dry. That next system later in the week, the late Thursday into early Friday system, could bring another inch and a half of rain. That system looks like it might stick around a little bit, take a little bit longer to move through, but again, nothing like what we had last week. That too is going to be progressive, but it could bring more rain than what we're expecting with today's system. And then over the weekend, mostly dry. Again, Sunday there could be a few patchy passing spotty showers, but nothing prolonged. So when you add up over the next 7 days, we're looking at potentially, an inch to maybe 2 inches across a good portion of central North Carolina. So that's the way it's shaping up. Now, with all that rain that we had last week, of course, everybody is familiar with the substantial flooding event that we had last week. You might be wondering, well, what about tonight's rain and Thursday and Friday's rain? How's that going to impact the rivers? Now, clearly, we're still looking at the Tar River at Tarboro still experiencing moderate flooding, but that is turning the corner on the hydrograph. I'm referring to the upper right hydrograph, and it looks like from here on out, at least through the rest of today, that should begin to fall. Now, for the Neuse River at Goldsboro, that river has already crested, and it's beginning to fall, but it's still up into the major flood stage, but it should be dropping down to moderate here shortly. The bottom line is today's rain, we're not expecting that to be enough rain to renew any flooding or further aggravate what's still flooding right now. Again, we think that's going to be moving fast enough that it's really not going to create any additional river flooding problems. All right, so looking ahead to next week, the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day outlooks show odds favoring below normal temperatures next week and below normal precipitation. We're going to be on the colder, drier backside of a trough for a portion of next week. So that would typically bring, slightly cooler temperatures and generally dry weather on the backside of that. So the good news with that is if that forecast holds for next week, we should have really outstanding weather for the Hurricane Awareness Tour next Wednesday. So again, just want to remind folks, check out our webpage at weather.gov/RAH/2017 HAT for more information about the Hurricane Awareness Tour. This is definitely one you won't want to miss. It hasn't been here since 2009, so you can see these things don't come around very often. So if you have the opportunity to visit, definitely don't miss it. So let's summarize this whole thing. Slight to moderate risk of severe storms later this afternoon and this evening. The main concern is damaging straight-line winds. Now, in terms of the timing, an isolated strong storm is possible anywhere across central North Carolina this afternoon. But the main line of storms and the main focus is expected to affect the Triad and western Piedmont between 2 and 8 p.m. So later this afternoon and early this evening for the Triad and western Piedmont. The Triangle, Sandhills, and eastern Piedmont, basically an evening event, 7 to 11 p.m. And then it pushes east of the Triangle and affects the I-95 corridor and the coastal plain from late this evening through the overnight hours, 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. is what we're saying. So anyway, again, damaging straight line winds is the main concern at this point. Now, let me also point out that even outside of thunderstorm activity, we are expecting some gusty winds, maybe gusts up to 30 miles per hour, just in the breezy environment ahead of the front today. So don't be surprised if there's some lightweight things blowing around out there, again, even outside of thunderstorm activity. All right, so then once we get rid of this system, fair weather is expected Tuesday through Thursday morning. The next chance for rain after today's rain will, and perhaps I should say a few strong thunderstorms with that next vigorous weather system late Thursday, Thursday night, and into early Friday. So that'll be the weather system we'll probably be focusing on, talking about once we get through today's weather system. All right, so then Saturday, the weekend. Saturday looks dry, and then maybe a few showers on Sunday, but definitely not a rain out at this point. And then finally, again, with the river issues that are ongoing from last week's heavy rain, the Tar River at Tarboro is cresting now and should begin to fall soon, and the Neuse River at Goldsboro has already crested and is falling. And again, just a reminder that today's rain is not expected to be enough to renew flooding or further aggravate the rivers across central North Carolina. So anyway, that's the way things are shaping up for this week's weather. Again, just a reminder, make sure you're, you have a way to receive severe weather alerts this evening, especially since part of it will be occurring during the nighttime hours when people, especially for the triangle eastward, many people may be sleeping when that line of storms moves it through. So make sure you have your no weather radio turned on or your cell phone charged up and close by you. So anyway, with that, that is the weekly briefing.